would you do if you run completely out of cash? What would you do if you wanna cut a dash? Polish up the shoes, throw on something fine. We don't talk about diesels, I'm running on style this time. Cruising down the boulevard, wheels gleam in the night. Beige leather interior, looking chic alright. Money's a little tight, but I'm feeling brand new. Living large tonight, no budget reviews. Blues! What do you mean I'm not getting paid for this?
What do we have here then, viewers? I know it's not got a badge on the front, but it is in fact a Daihatsu Grand Move. We seem to specialise on incredibly rare cars on this channel. We've had things like an Alpha 90, Nissan Cherry Europe, 3 Mark 1 Hyundai Elantras, Daewoo Asperos, Daewoo Nexias, yeah, plural of both of those, and now this. A lot of you won't even know when they sold these over here. They did sell them for about 4 years, 1997 to 2001 it actually was. This is a Plus model with a 1.5 engine and automatic gearbox, registered in 1998. The facelift model is actually more common because they sold them for a bit longer. The pre-facelift one's only about 18 months, which was strange. I don't know why they even bothered in that case, but never mind. Based on the same platform as the contemporary Daihatsu Charade, again, not a car you see very often, but much sort of more spacious and just an unusual look, far more sort of Japanese looking. Wikipedia's not really that helpful in terms of information about this car, because not only do they get the spelling of the name wrong, Grand Move rather than Grand Move, they also they get confused about the engines. The engines changed with the facelift in October 1998. Some markets got different engines, but we only ever got 2, and this has the earlier 1 to 1.5. Versing camera unfortunately doesn't work in this car. It's actually done just 55,000 miles, which is ridiculous. Also, someone's thought about the fact that not everyone's going to want to put the key in to open the boot, so we actually got a little release just like on most European cars at the time. Struts are okay. Separate fog lamp, of course, on here. Actually in quite good condition. The boot is vast. It's very good for carrying pets and things like that. So just sort of move this up, and the spare wheel's sort of under here somewhere. We're not going to take it completely out because that's a bit of a faff fiddling with this, but there's so much space in here. Normally it has like a dog carrier thing in it. You could get a low blind to put in there if you wanted to, I suppose. One thing I'll notice straight away is not only do the seats fold in the middle, we've got little armrests either side of each seat, which is great. They're not in the middle at all. Someone's thought in like a sort of quite eccentric way about how someone who would have a family would be using this car. So we open up this door here. One really annoying thing about this car, which we'll demonstrate in a moment, is that if you fold that seat squab forward, all the belt buckles fall through, and it's a right pain to put them all back. But we will do that because it's, well, funny. There you go. That's how the how those kind of seats work. The other thing as well is there's a little tag for kind of moving the backrest forward and back, but they tend to fall through as well. So we're going to have to do that with the squab folded forward, which we will do. But yeah, loads of space, loads of headroom. I'll just sort of climb in the back and you can see what it's like. Just put that armrest in there. Incredibly easy, so much headroom. There we go, loads of room. Look at all this and how airy and light this cabin is. Incredibly 90s interior, like the most 90s interior I think I've ever seen. But you know, light fabric, very sort of Asian looking, which is not unexpected really. Little Iowa stereo now. The clock is in a really weird place underneath the stereo, so every time you want to look at what the time is, you have to kind of look down below the stereo, which means it's completely unsafe really if you want to drive along and actually look at the clock at the same time. Notice as well we've got a wiper stalk on the left, indicator stalk on the right, like older Japanese cars and some British cars. A little thing oddment tray for there. Being the Plus model, we've got things like rear electric windows and ABS in here. No sunroof, which is a bit of a shame. I don't think you get one of those on a UK market Grand Move. But there we go. We've got electric rear windows. Right, let's fiddle with this seat and see if we can get it to fold. Right, viewers, let's fold this squab forward. I'm going to do this with one hand. So, pull this forward. Hold on a second, viewers. Right, viewers, there we go. So we've got more space for whatever it is you need. This is the toggle for moving this, and see, it will go forward like that. Or if we move it again, I'll just move my elbow. You can recline them like that. So you can have that whatever angle you want. We'll just leave it about there. Okay, so that's fine. But you can see if I put this down and I try to hold up some of the buckles with the other hand, I'll have to do this with my elbow. Great, we've not only lost the toggle for doing the backrest recline, we've lost two of the seatbelt buckles, and there's nothing to attach them to, which is a really, really poor design. I don't know how possibly that could have got through engineering, but there we go. We'll have to now pull it back up, and Willie and just going to have to help me and to get them in the right place. That's rubbish, viewers. Never mind. Let's just fiddle with that for a second, and then we'll have a look in the front. Okay, so we're all back together properly now. Someone's put some random dragon graphics on the side of this car as well at some point in its life. I don't know why that is. It's amazing to see one that hasn't got loads of rust on it as well. This has hardly got any rust on it, this car. Just move the bag out the way. So, very kind of upright driving position. Something like a little 4x4 it would sort of feel like at the time. Nice plastic steering wheel. There we go. Tell this is a Japanese domestic market type car, isn't it? With the indicator still on the right. Automatic, it's actually a 4-speed auto. We've got lockout function on here. We've got power, automatic, and easy mode. Easy mode I do not recommend. It holds for revs below about 2,700. You can't go above that, and so if you want to pull out of things, it's a bit useless, so we leave that alone. Strangely, the wiper controls for the rear wash wiper on here, they're not actually on the stalk. Why? I have no idea. You would have thought Daihatsu would make a little hatchback cars, and so they'd have it on here, but no, it's on there. So we have the clock's right down here, which you can't actually see. Air conditioning, of course, is now non-functional, which is a shame, never mind. But apart from that, very kind of 1980s style Japanese car controls for the heating and ventilation, which is fine, they're nice and clear. Twin airbags. I'm afraid these secret mission dogs are not going in there, because it's full of manual and other things, but that's okay. We've got a huge storage cubby down here. We've got another one sort of there. It's not for like a second radio or anything. I don't know what particularly that before. Maybe for cassettes or something like that. Then another one down there. 12-volt socket just there. Little tiny thing for putting something smaller than a cup in there. Door bins are quite small. I don't know why. I mean, there's lots of other places to put stuff in here, but door bins are surprisingly tiny. The reason I don't quite understand. Very simple, very kind of clear instruments, which is good. Electric mirrors, and there's not much else to say really. There's no overhead console or anything like that. But yes, let's have a look at the engine. So 1.5 4-cylinder Daihatsu engine generating 88 horsepower. One thing I find quite strange is the fuse box cover actually has a little place for putting the bonnet prop in. Quite simple, I imagine, to work on. Automatic gearboxes down there somewhere. But very sort of old-fashioned looking. Typical kind of 1990s Japanese engine. We've got a little weep going on there. A little weep from, I think it's the cam cover gasket, which is just normal. Suzuki's do that, Hondas do that, so many do that. There is a cam belt to do in here, although good luck trying to get certain parts for something like this, because, well, there are about 15, 20 of these on the road in this country. There's not many, so that might be a bit tricky. But the engine, to be honest, was used in quite a few other models of Daihatsus. I mean, particularly the Charade of the era, so maybe that wouldn't be too difficult. But yeah, unique bits, you know, for this, then yeah, that would be interesting. But you know, this is what No Budget Reviews is all about, bringing you sort of obscure and weird old things that don't cost a lot of money. Right, let's go out for a drive. We're not quite on the same rarity level as something like a Nissan Cherry Europe or an Alpha 90, both of which I have driven. But these are exceptionally rare cars. In fact, when I was doing the research for this video, there are just no contemporary reviews of it whatsoever, particularly for the UK automotive YouTube world. There just are none. So here we are, driving through a historic town in Suffolk in this car. I wouldn't be surprised if people are like looking at me as I'm driving along, because you just don't see things like this. You don't see things like this at all. It's actually really easy to drive in town, which I think was one of the main purposes of this car. Visibility is amazing. The driving position's very upright. It just reminds me of driving like a Shogun or something like that. I used to own a Shogun back in the day. This little engine here is it's a 1.5 4-cylinder of 88 horsepower. When the facelifted cars were introduced, it wasn't really that long after the launch, about 18 months, in the autumn of 1998. The engine was upgraded for a 1.6 of about 90 horsepower. They're not very different at all, really. I only can imagine that the engine was changed to do with Euro 3 emissions regulations that came in 2000. I can't think of any other reason why they do that. In some of the markets, the engines were very different. In Japan, for example, you got a lot more power. So yeah, very light steering. It's very easy to see where you're going. Ride is okay, but the car is quite tall, so you know it sort of leans over and things like that. And steering is well, it's a bit on the sloppy side. Compared to the Shogun, are not particularly inaccurate. You can get used to the right-hand indicator stalk. Right, we are in easy mode of transmission, which means we don't go above 3,000 RPM, so we're going to have to put it into automatic, get a bit more power. 0 to 60 in this car is apparently about 12 seconds. It actually pulls okay, and the manual would be a little bit quicker than this, up this hill. It's actually not quite as noisy as I thought. Very, very bouncy though. And with this incredibly vague steering, the steering is vaguer than a very vague vlog, which is to say, as vague can be. No, not a performance machine, and you know, not a sports car. Neither of those things. But you know, that's okay. The sort of average person who's buying something like this, when it competed with the Renault Scenic, wouldn't be interested in anything like that. They'd be interested in how spacious is it, and you know, can you get all the children in, which you can. I quite like this view. I don't know why I thought I would not like it. I do, but I probably prefer a manual version. But that's sort of academic when you know, your driving experience is kind of a bit sort of floppy and sort of old-fashioned. But the sort of person who'd be owning one of these cars at the time, particularly when they actually got over the looks of it in the showroom, and actually drove it and looked at how spacious and practical it was, would not be interested in things like that. They'd be interested in, you know, what the servicing intervals are like and how reliable they are. Daihatsus have this reputation, which is very, very deserved, of being incredibly reliable cars. And I can see sort of why that might be. I can see why if somebody just got into it and just thought, I want the easiest possible car with the most amount of space, with quite low servicing costs, after all it's based on a charade, then this is the car for you. When it was launched in 1997, it cost in the region of £11,000 for the basic model, and this Plus model would have been about £13,000 for the manual. This automatic one would have been a little bit more than that, which isn't unreasonable. And now these days, you've got to be quite someone to own something like this. You've got to stand out a bit. I prefer this massively to the Move. The Move is a very interesting car, but it's just something a little bit like if I hit anything, I was going to die instantly. That was sort of not a very good look. Whereas this, there's a lot more space in it. It feels far more conventional to drive, albeit really, really soft. And so, you know, I prefer this. The only thing is, could I live with the looks of it? I don't know, you, particularly with these funny side graphics, things like that, which is very, very, very 90s Japanese. You've got to be very eccentric, or you know, kind of with a retro mindset to have something like this. And I understand why you would. Right, viewers, the Daihatsu Grand Move, or the
Pyzar, as it's also known. I can see why Daihatsu in the UK decided to change the name, because that's not going to mean anything to anybody, is it? Is this something you should consider for your hard-earned budget up to £1,000? Well, wouldn't believe this, but like, you can buy one of these for under £1,000 with an MOT if you can actually find one. They do not come up for sale very often because they didn't sell a lot of them in the first place, and kind of like this weird styling and, you know, rust and just being totally obscure means that no one knows what they are, and there's not a huge demand for them. But if you're the sort of person who likes to stand out and likes this kind of weird thing with weird logos and weird colours and just sort of odd looking thing, then you know, this is the car for you. I think this is a much better car than the Move. The Move is interesting, but I feel a little bit less sort of self-conscious going around in this, even though I still do feel like we stand out quite a lot in here. Anyway, thank you ever so much once again for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like this video in the comment below, and we shall see you again soon for more inexpensive motoring.